Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, my friend. Nice to see you again. Welcome back, everyone. We're here again with another stream. Today, we're going to be going through pistols, because pistols are awesome, right? I love pistols. I've got two relic plasma pistols in particular, both maximum item level, and both have hits restoring or hits granting a random vulnerability, which is semi-useful for group play. It's nice to have some extra vulnerabilities placed on a target. Now, I'm looking forward to this build because I've not used pistols in a long time. You can see my my signum over here on the side is still waving up in the air, doing a, is it Marilyn Monroe? I think it was with the skirt. For me, it's just a signum. So let's get started by going through the build briefly, talking to you, well, about the build and what we're going to do with it. Let me just make sure everyone in the chat is aware we're here. We are public, we are live, we are rocking, we're rolling. Let's just do a little tweet as well. Go briefly on Twitter. That's the last place I didn't do. And nice to see you. I want to know how you're doing today. I want to know how you're doing. We're halfway through the week. Hump day is over. Tweet. There we go. So let's look at skills. Let's crack them open here and see what we got. So I'm going to be starting off with the heat attacks because the one at the very top here is one that I do really like for this build. Having a burn effect on a target is very, very nice, especially when combined with burn lasting longer and blocking HP regeneration. What's up, Zolos? Nice to see you, my friend. So that's a pretty big one to start off with. Now, obviously, on the way, there are a couple of others that will be of some use. Critical hits, applying a vulnerability, not too bad. Of course, if we critical hit and we get lucky with our sort of regular attack, it means that we may even have two vulnerabilities applied with one attack, which might be very useful. Worth applying, I think. Cooling down faster, I do think is worth it, and extra damage the higher the heat is also worth it. This one I'm not going to use because I want to go with crit. Now, I've done a little bit of an investigation myself today, comparing single target to critical hit, and I'll show you why. What is up, Spectre, my friend? What is up, Mac Lee? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you all. So, looking at this weapon here, we've got assault, single target. Okay. We have another single target here, lovely jubbly, and we have another single target here. So we have three single target abilities and a piercing. So it kind of makes sense that we're going to go with some stuff that's going to boost our single target damage, right? So that's what I'm going to go for. So I naturally would go to the single target DPS tree up here. Now, while some of these are okay, the overall buff that you work towards if you're going to fill out this whole tree is 20% damage, 10%, if you get a one-hit kill, which you might do with a plasma pistol. Let's be honest, you might well do that with a plasma pistol. However, a lot of these points here end up being wasted. Suppression damage, for example, not a lot of use. Some of them only apply to certain conditions. Some of them only apply to melee attacks. Overall, I don't really think it's that great compared to something like the critical hit tree. Now, granted, this only gives you 10% damage bonus for 10 seconds. However, it does stack, and, well, that's the main reason it bloody stacks. And all of these are going to be adding to you, bar the one that adds to a little bit for melee that's around here somewhere. But generally speaking, pretty much all of this tree is useful in terms of contributing to your overall damage. You compare that with a single hit tree. If we just go down here, okay, 1.5, okay, extra bit of damage when they're low on health, may or may not apply. Another 1.5, okay, reduces skills cooldown, maybe of a little bit of use, potentially. In actual fact, something I was planning on doing was going towards this one, which I believe, because the plasma pistol has such good spike damage for these abilities, is quite likely to knock them down. Combine that, I might as well get this while I'm here. Potentially lowering some cooldowns, it might be worth doing. Now, some of the others, let's go over to critical hit, because I do think that's probably going to be worth doing. Again, just having a little look here, we don't have a slow shock, we don't have a slow shock, stun, or freeze. Let me just double check that, but I'm pretty sure we don't. Nope, and a nope, and a nope, and a nope. Okay, so that's not going to be of any use to us. Back to skills for a second. Okay, range skill, yeah, lots of little 1% here, lots of little bits here and there. first attack doing 5% extra with a critical hit. That's not too bad. It's not too bad, but useless. That's now I remember. This is the reason I really don't like this tree. Don't like it. Useless for ranged. So many wasted points all on this tree here. That one's kind of okay if you're using lots of cooldowns, and sort of that one's kind of okay when it does proc, and if it does work, it's all right. But I would rather go with crit, because I know the majority of these are actually going to be used by me, and I know they're going to benefit me. Now, somewhere there is one that applies to melee damage that gives you an extra little bit of crit. Well, there it is. So that's a wasted point. But the rest of these are all useful. And this one here, again, it does stack. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's only if you get a critical hit, so you need a good critical hit, right? Well, the way I see it is if you do a critical hit, you're going to do, when you've invested into this, at least double damage. So even if you've got a 20% crit, the chance of getting a kill with a critical hit, I think, is more like, well, I don't know, 30%, let's say, because, well, that's just sort of how everything will work out maths-wise. Now, what we want to do is obviously do everything we can to make crits as awesome as possible. Granted, this isn't going to give us as much focus as it did on the other Crusader build with a heavy bolter, but it's still going to be good. Suppression damage, I'm not too fussed on, honestly. This is going to be of some use, and healing the character where I'm going to leave that point for now. It may come in use later. What's up, Lalandra? What's up, OLED? Nice to see everyone here. Remember the old classic. This is a necessity, absolute necessity, not even going to ask questions. Now, we're left with 8 points. What I think I would suggest going for is the range cooldown bonus when fighting in cover. You might as well get up the extra points in crit here. Cool time of overheated weapons. I mean, this stuff here just sort of suits these weapons pretty damn well, which leaves us with 3 more points. Now, I'd probably work towards this, which is 10% damage when shooting at max range, which I think is pretty damn good. Oh, what's for dinner today, Lalandra? What's cooking? What are you and the hubby enjoying? And we don't have a rapid fire skill on this, but we could maybe work towards some of these. I don't know. We've got 2 points spare. What I think I'll do is stick them in ye old defense tree and just go for flat out damage mitigation, but we'll probably go for damage reduction in cover, seeing as we're going to get a bonus to cooldowns when in cover, as well as get some damage reduction in cover. So basically, we want to be using cover lots. Aside from that, what else could I potentially use for build variants? We do have an armor piercing here, and is this one armor piercing? No. Okay, so we've got a piercing and 1 armor piercing. It's one of the downsides with the plasma pistol was really this plasma cannon suffers from the same thing. It's got assault and single target, and it's a heat thing. So that's kind of all you can use to boost it. You can go with the heat attacks, you can go with single target, you can go with range damage, and that's kind of it. And we've put a dot on the crit, so that will be the damage over time. But that's that. Let's crack on with some assassinations. I really don't want to do Rebel Guard, so what we'll do is Nurgle Demons instead. Oh my god, you've got burritos? Oh man. Yeah, sure, you can join, Harmon. Are you ready? Are you ready to join? We'll get some dudes in. We'll get some of the old Patreons in. Give them a little bit of priority. Where are they? Cabal, there we go. Cabal. Members, click it twice and there we go. It works. Oh, he's not online at the moment. Okay, join us on the next one by the looks of it. Are you joining, Harmon? I'll give you a few moments and we'll get started. Quick, he's just logged in. There we go. Oh, we can demote him. Tempting, but no. Right, we'll give... Oh, we can kick him. He's not in the game yet. That's why we can't invite him. Awkward as hell invite system. Not a massive fan. I tell you what's probably next on the video schedule too. I really want to do a video having a really good moan about the tutorial, because I've just been thinking about it more and more. Come on, Milamba, log in. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. I really want to have a good moan about the tutorial system, because I just think it's potato. I'm really not a fan of this. Right, what I'm going to do, Milamba, is I'm going to give you leader, so you can take me into some Cabal missions, because they'll be higher level and get me more account experience. So let's rock, my friend. Let's rock. Remember, guys, that the party host sets the power level, and currently the formula for calculating XP, I will basically get XP from a level 50 mission, even if it's set to easy difficulty because Malamba's so high. So always get the highest level to host, because otherwise everyone's XP is going to suffer. I'm not expecting that to be the case within the final product. It should be. If Malamba selects a plus 100 difficulty mission, I should get my level plus 100 as a sort of XP modifier. That's how it should work, but that's not how it does work. So there you go. Oh, dude, Lalandra, tell me about it. A reset button for all the damn skills would be so nice. I just had to go through it myself. It was a horrible experience. Malamba, I'm waiting for you to stick us in a Kabul mission, my friend. You are the party leader. You are slow. I know you're Dutch, but, you know, that's no excuse. Ah, he was already on it. He was probably just taking his time, selecting the very best mission that he could find. And as you can see, my account experience is a little bit higher as a result, which is always nice. Now, the account XP also is, or rather the account level is capped at 60. So I've got another 12 points I can get, and when I get enough fate as well, there is another 2 skill points I can get from the tech lady. We'll show you her in a little bit. So I'm not going to be doing any tarots today. We're going to be grinding fate for a little bit of this, but hopefully we'll get a few purple items and relics from these missions that we can use. And you do get a good amount of fate as well from these missions. You do get indeed. Noticed quite a bit of upset on the latest video. Well, I say quite a bit of upset. 3 comments anyway of people unhappy with the power rating system still. Now, I have to say I don't blame people for disliking it. I really would have liked the Inquisitor rank to be displayed completely differently. I would have been really happy. Well, I would have been happier. I think it's okay, but if it wasn't displayed as an experience bar, I think that's really one thing that lets it down. If it was displayed as like just a ranking up type thing, I don't know, even collecting items as you go, trading those items in for prestige as such. I don't know, I just think there's, 1,000 damage. And if we do a 1, that should be a nice bit of spiky damage. That should be a nice bit of spiky damage. Let's try a 2. Ooh. Now we do have a piercing attack as well, so if we get the enemy to do a conga line, we can do a nice bit of damage to all of them. Let's take a little bit of cover here. Get a little bit of health back. We do need to fiddle with our inoculator as well, because it is not optimized at the moment. Okay, let's use an inoculator, or Harmon. Harmon's going to have all the fun without us. Right, drop a turret, drop a shield, drop a frickin' shield, I said. Oh, Jesus. Ouch. So that's a 10% damage boost there. Let's see how often we're critting right now. I need to have a check of my crit chance. That was a nice one as well. Let's blow that up. Oh, beautiful. I love it. I just love it. I don't like the sound effect too much. That has to be said. I'm still not a massive fan of these sound effects. Harmon missed a trap. Oh, my word. He's slacking. And apparently you can charge the 2 ability on this. So let's have a try. Let's charge this up and pop. A moderate amount of damage, but no more than the other abilities. I think it charges for a total of 3 seconds, so let's have a try. Okay, that seemed fairly standard. Another 1,000 damage crit. They pretty much all seem to be hitting for 1,000. But the crits are certainly dishing a bit of damage out. And in theory, I should be a lot more effective when fighting in cover, because I'm getting a nice bonus of 30% extra cooldown, which is always nice. Malamba is a tanky son of a bee. Right now, he is a 1 tanky mofo. He's basically rocking the I am tank crusader build. And I'd like your guys' thoughts on the tanky crusader build, because I actually think he's too tanky as a melee character when you build into tankiness. Some people may just get triggered by me saying that, but I really think the crusader is too tanky when he's built tanky. And I think that's not the crusader's fault. That is a fault of the actual tank tree being far too good. Even on the assassin, basically every character, technically speaking, if you're doing single player content, you're having a rough time, 150 hit points versus 1% damage. 150 hit points is the better option every single time. Defensive characters, defensive abilities in this far outweigh... Oh, yeah, hardly scratched him. Hardly scratched him. Defensive abilities far outweigh the offensive abilities in terms of skill points invested. Right, let's try fully charged. Pow! 700, that was a bit underwhelming. Now, I definitely need to use my one ability a little bit more. And we definitely need to use the bolter a little bit more too. So we should notice a little bit of a cooldown difference. Should be 2 seconds, I believe. Oh, I need to actually remember what the cooldown is. Let's have a little see. You know, I'm quite happy actually running around shooting stuff. I don't mind the cover system, but let's try a piercing. Pop. So it's right click for the piercing attack. That's the one. That's the one we want to use when they're all grouped up. Nice. And it does go through cover, of course, because it is piercing. So the enemies do get a big bonus in this as well. 75% is a fair old chunk. A fair old chunk. What's up, Funzarelli, my friend? What's up? Nice to see you. Oh, they went boom. So we're rocking a plasma pistol build today. If I get a couple relic pistols, I will use some others. But for now, I think it's going to be this one. It's a nice short cooldown on this as well. And I believe it hits them twice. Or it seems to sometimes hit them twice. It's a lovely weapon, though. It's just a shame about the sound. It is too high pitch. And I know they're redoing a lot of weapons. So I'm hoping... Oh, there's going to be a skull here. Where are you? Oh no, it's one of these. I'm a noob. Right. Cooldown reinforcements. For some reason this guy's decided to abandon his turret. Oh. Oh lordy. Group them up. Group them up. There we go. I think the right mouse button is probably the most effective ability to spam, given that it seems to hit people twice. Let's have a little comparison. Okay, the crits don't hit for much. That's something worth pointing out. I think the one ability technically is my anti-armor. I think that's fully armor piercing. But the actual single hit ability seems to hit for a fair chunk as well. Right, Ah, Harmon's got some spare weapons. That's a nice thing about non-binding weapons in this game. Is you can just be like, yo, bud, you want to use my plasma gun for a few rounds, see what you think of it. Sure, go right ahead. Nothing's a countdown, so that's always nice. Does make me wonder a little bit about... Oh dear, I've seemed to have triggered a trap. Does make me wonder a little bit about item trading, if that's going to be a little bit too broke. Because the game's going to be flooded in relics, basically. You know, if someone gets to the end game and gets a little bit too much time spare, there's potential to just give relics to everyone. Or farm enough relics so the people that are playing the game at a slower pace, when they get to end game, they've basically got a full set of gear. That's something that sort of concerns me a little bit, actually. What is up, gal? How you doing? How are you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the damn week. Got a sausage pasta to bake today. It's going to be a stream for a couple of hours. I want to have a little bit of a chill this evening, this afternoon as well. Tomorrow we find out if our good news is good news. I'm waiting for confirmation on some news to potentially share some news with you. That's all I can say for now. But it may be good news. It may not. Well, it won't be bad news. It may be good news or it may be no news. Put it that way. But I'm hoping it's going to be good news. It might be expensive news too. Again, apologies for being vague, but I have to. We shall see. We shall see. Oh, oh, oh. And it may involve me having to get up at about 3 AM on Saturday. Oh. Right. Can we kill this? There we go. Rather not set off all of the traps in here. Nice little pop sound. And... Come on, charge at me, bro. Have at thee. Now, you don't have to kill everything. It's hilarious when they do that. You don't have to kill everything on these missions, but it does feel kind of satisfying when you do. I'm at the point now where I'm max level, and I don't care so much about efficiency. You'll notice when I was doing my leveling runs, it was all a bit more gun-ho. And now Harmon's sort of doing the gun-ho-ness. I think he's racing well ahead. Oh, I guess we'll go catch up with him then. Come on then, Harmon. La-da-dee-dee-dee. I'm not that fast, though. I'm not that fast. It's a little bit of a problem. Ouch. And it does hurt quite a lot. It does hurt quite a lot. I've not got particularly optimised gear right now. I really need to keep a hold of my gear, and this is one thing that I like about the gearing system, but I really think we need the crafting. And the problem is that if you gear into a physical build, let's say, you get plus physical damage, plus flesh bane on all your relics, it becomes really off-putting to actually change build. It becomes really difficult because you're so heavily invested in this build. The same applies to most games, I think, but it really is a case that, oh, this isn't looking very good, is it? Oh, my word. Suppression's down. It's starting to get numb. Okay, well, Harmon did a mission for us. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, indeed. The quote of the day, the word of the day is soon. And also, while I've got you here, I was having a little chat with the chap that made my logo the other day, because a couple of Patreons said they would like some t-shirts. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can look into this. I'm going to wait a while. You've got to tease a little bit. You've got to tease a little bit with stuff like this. Don't worry, I'm not going to go driving away in a Lamborghini with all them monies. I'm really going to try and make them literally as cheap as I can. I had a look at Teespring, and generally the costs are actually quite low. It's just the person selling them that hikes them up a fair bit. So they make, I don't know, $5 to $10 on each t-shirt sold. But I'm Happy Wednesday. Da 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 da. Yay, an arc plate. Would I mind? Da, 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 da. Pending reward. But yeah, if there is a little bit of a market, not a market, if there's a little bit of interest for them, I mean, I'm estimating between 10 and $15. I'd probably go with Teespring. But if anyone is interested, let me know. Do be vocal about it, because once I've got, I don't know, 10 or 15 people that I know are interested, I can go right ahead and do it. Just chuck us in when you're ready as well, Harmon. Don't you bother waiting for me. You just go right ahead. I'm going to have a little eyeball of my gear right now. So what have we got up here? Got some warfare. Efficiency to slow. Critical hit chance is what I'm really going for at the moment. And I think I've got 16%, and that's not including a few extra percent for range. So it's not a huge amount, but it's a modest amount of critical hit chance. I would definitely like more. Right. Crit tree. So we've got an assassin rocking with us as well now. We've got a tank, we've got an assassin, and we've got me, the Desperado Han Solo, dual plasma pistol wielding general badass. That's right. Yeah, so the graphic artist guy that did the logo said he was more than happy for me to do that. I was worried if I, you got to pay extra for copyright, etc. But he's a cool dude, by the way. And if anyone is ever interested in having their own stuff drawn or written up, Matt Kirby is the guy's name. He's on Twitter. I would recommend, if you just like seeing a little bit of graphical art drawn up every now and again. He does mainly character design and such like that. I would really recommend checking him out. Not only is he a cool dude, he's good at what he does. He's good at what he does, and I said to him exactly what I wanted, and I got exactly what I wanted. That doesn't sound that impressive, but I had some trouble with 2 graphics artists before him, especially on Fiverr. Good Lord, Fiverr. Oh my God, nothing but bad things to say about that. I know some people swear by it. I have had nothing but trouble from there. Nothing but trouble. Everything I'm not being picky here. I basically said to a description of a guy that looked like a fairly competent graphics artist, do you think you could probably sketch this up? Basically asked him for a logo that looks a bit like what I have now. He was like, yeah, sure. And you know what he did? He just copied and pasted a bunch of other people's drawings and said, there you go, mate, and wanted to charge me money for it. So I was like, right, for a start, fuck you for plagiarising someone else's stuff and claiming it to be your own. And for a second, fuck you for being a scumbag. So got straight on that. Got his ass reported, because, I mean, that's just disrespectful and disingenuous. So had to have a little chat with Fiverr about that. But apparently that's a fairly common thing. Well, we got some crossed swords here. Dewey, never cross swords, my friend. Never cross swords. Crossing swords in the Hydra stream. I mean, as long as they don't touch, I guess that's the rules. You can make a cross shape. Game crash for Lalandra. Unfortunately, co-op is still co-op. I was having a little bit of a think about this today. Yeah, former Navy says it all. I was having a little think today, and I was putting myself in a hypothetical situation of talking to some of the other streamers. I've had a chat with some of the other sort of, let's say, YouTubers of this game, or people that have covered this game, let's say, and I do think a lot of them have missed out in regards to the sort of the general co-opery of this, because most guys, when there's a new patch, they play the game for, let's say, a week or two during the hype, and during that phase, co-op never works. Let's be honest here, co-op never works in the beginning phase. So a lot of the people have never actually played this game's co-op, which I think is a real shame, because like any ARPG, I think it's just more enjoyable when one is playing co-op. I should really do some assassinating here, shouldn't I? I mean, this isn't called just kill everything Hydra. Right, Harmon's going that way, so I'm going to go this way and up this way. I'm going to solo everything. I'm going to do it all on my own, because I'm a totes badass kind of dude. But yes, I mean, I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame. Now, I'm not saying that they would... Oh, I died. I'm not saying they would dramatically change their views about the game, but I do think it would help. I do think it would help a little bit. However, I completely get that reviewing the game as a solo experience is completely valid and should be done. Ooh. Speaking of crossing swords, we have a rather long stream. That's either a... Well, maybe that's a telecommunication beam going cross-map there. Oh, that didn't even kill him. The dots don't do a lot of damage in this game either. I mean, if you're looking, or comparing rather, this with a traditional, I don't know, let's say a Warlock of other games, the dots in this game are very, very weak. Who would like a little secret? Who would like a little secret that I'm fairly sure... Well, I am allowed to say it. I am allowed to say it, I'm sure. So I was having a chat today, as one does, and I was just saying, would it be of any use to the developers if I gave them a weapon-by-weapon account of my thoughts in terms of viability, usability, which ones suck in terms of build variations? So take, for example, the recent plasma cannon build I tried making. For me, I just really struggled to make a build out of it. It's lacking penetration or something that you can abuse in order to make it more effective, and the AoE tree is just very underwhelming, let's be fair. So I said to them, would it be of any use if I did that? Who wants to know what they said? I want to show of hands here. Was anyone interested? Does anyone want to know what their response was? Models not loading. That's not too good. That's not too good. Good. Malta doesn't want to know, so I'm going to tell everyone. The response was 90% of the moves have already been adjusted. And obviously they said that on the letter, but basically they're kind of finished with changing them. So, again, it sounds like they're doing some pretty big changes, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And I'm happy doing stuff like that because I know it's a bit nitty-gritty, but the truth is not many people can be bothered to do it, and I enjoy doing stuff like that. I come from a MOBA background. I don't mind going through every hero, and basically you can do a tier list of weapons very similar to you do a tier list of gods in a MOBA. Very, very similar. But you've got to know every skill, you've got to know every skill point. Yes, you'll never get it completely right, but you can give some opinions and some sort of input on it, and no one's really done that yet. A tier list of weapons. Oh my god. No one's done a tier list. Who wants to see a tier list? Oh dear, Lalandra, you're having some troubles joining. That kind of blows. God blimey, this is the turret's got an angry and long range. Right. Explodey, explodey. There we go, beautiful. Oh, the frames have gone. The usual co-op, absolute lack of frames. Now, do we have any inoculators? I think we'll go over here, rendezvous with our compadre. Oh, if the enemies are done sliding around. Man, this looks like a mess. This looks like a mess. So a tier list might be a thing. However, One of the things that kind of makes me feel like that's a bit redundant is things are about to change. So why bother? Why bother making a tier list when they're revamping all the bloody weapons? It's like the same of me talking about weapon balancing now and builds. I kind of feel like, well, probably we're going to see these changes in February. So, yeah. We've also had confirmation that the roadmap will be updated, quote-unquote, soon. God knows when, but man, do we need it. Just for reassurance more than anything. I mean, it's really just an ego stroker to make us worry less, but to actually know exactly what's coming, to make sure we know that those old features that we haven't got yet, that we should have had a while ago, haven't been abandoned. It would be nice. I mean, it would be nice. A lot of us would just find it reassuring. Got a walking tail. Well, that's all you need in life. Right. Can I go that way? I'm going to have to follow this way. It's difficult when your crusader's not killing anything. Honestly. I love the piercing attack, I tell you. It's so good. Like the total net damage done here. Love it. Absolutely love this attack. Think it's really, really good. Just look at all that. That's like 5 hits. Now, granted, AoEs are available too. Other AoEs are available. However, I mean, it just hits for it like a truck as well. Sets them on fire every now and again. Absolutely love this. I mean, I would go so far as saying you could just disable your left click and just right click spam. Just right click spam like a mofo. It's not the most damage in the world, and I don't think it's penetrating either. But it's good enough, especially when they get in a conga line like this. Because you can just dish out a load of chunky monkey damage. And there you go. And I think it goes through cover. Let's have a look. Yeah, it goes through cover too. Fan-dabby-dozy. Right. Let's get a void. Let's get some shields. Let's get some inoculators. So we might live through this exchange. Right. Had to stand still there because my hotkeys are currently not working properly. Well, isn't this a thing? Right, let's move. Good evening, Bjorn. Good evening, my friend. Oh, here's the bug. Whenever there's one guy left to kill, you get this monstrosity of a graphical glitch. Oh, it's so big and huge. Oh, but Jesus. And I died as well. Well, clearly. I mean, look at the size there. That's jive-frickin-enormous. Okay. Well, we'll go chill here with Lalandra, I guess. Harmon's closing in on the last one. We could kill some of these, I guess. Come on. And this is what just pistols look like when they're floating in air. Bedknobs and broomstick style. Man. I mean, I want to get these Cabal missions done, but this is one horrible graphical bug. And it's so consistent too. It always happens when the enemies are lowered from one health to another. I can only assume that that's the trigger for it. But man, it's ugly. God damn, is it ugly. Well, there you go. Yo, what's up, Alexander? Nice to see you, my friend. Fine Furtner. I love your name. Absolutely awesome name. 9 Fate. Could have been better, could have been worse. Not too bad, not too bad. I'd like to save up 250 in total, which I will then use to get some more skill points. And that's going to take a while by the looks of it. I'm kind of hoping once you've spent all of your Fate endgame that there are some other mechanisms, let's say, in order to get additional Fate. Because it sort of slows down a bit right now. Right, Archon, how's it going, my friend? Archon Fett. That's also a cool name. Everyone's got a cool name. Right, come on, Harmon, let's rock and roll, do some more. Need to restart. Okay. The other guys are restarting their computers. Hopefully that's going to make things work. Is there anything useful we can do while we're here? We could have a look at this. Now, well, something I'm tempted to use is this. Because look at it. Frag burst, frag burst. Let's have a look at frag burst. So area effect, kind of nice. Salvo, kind of nice. Fleshbane, yeah, it's all right. Widespread, not ideal. Weak versus armoured, kind of sucks. And extreme suppression, 4 times suppression, is absolutely crazy. Very, very useful, but it doesn't do a knockdown or anything like that. So, I mean, yeah, Frag Burst is a cool name as well. Okay, let's invite the other 2 clowns back. The downside with that is it sort of, unlike the heavy bolter, it doesn't actually apply a slow, a shock, a stun, or a freeze. So that's kind of a problem. Right, we'll make Malamba the leader. Stick us in a mission when you're ready, my friend. Oh, we've got a skill point here as well. What can we spend our skill point on? We could roll up here. Movement bonus with heavy weapons. We don't have ammo-fed weapons. Damage over time, maybe. 10% damage bonus for every active dot on the enemy target is a maybe. I'm not too sure about it, though, because a lot of these points here would be sort of... Yeah, it's just 5% dot damage here and there. It's not really that amazing. The dot tree I kind of like, but I don't know if dots stack in that sense. If you've got a dot on something and you do another dot on something, is that going to be 20% if they're both the same type of dot, or does it only work if it's a burn, a bleed and a poison? Is that 30% bonus damage? That I would very much like to know. Very, very curious. We could always do a little bit of science, a little bit of investigating, but we need quite a few more skill points to really be able to get into that tree. But it's one of those things where decent tooltips and a decent debuff bar would actually make it make sense. Oh, I'm excited for Thursday too. Excited for Thursday and the possible news of something that might be exciting but might also not be exciting, depending on what the news is. We shall see. We shall see. Also hoping to hear back from some others. I really want to do an interview with the Slithering guys. I really just want to have a good chat with them about their game. Talk through a little bit of the demo, whatever, just get some footage, have a good chat with them about the game, because I like RTS. I really, really like RTS. I also know we're getting some Necromunda information soon from those developers, and that's going to be something I'm going to be following really close. Again, you can expect some guides from me on that. That's definitely going to be my jam. I love the strategic stuff. I don't mind turn-based games, you know. They're not the most interesting to watch. I've done plenty of Mordheim bits and bobs over the past. And the appetite for it is not kind of there. But I do love the games. And I'm hoping the Necromunda one will bring a little bit more action to it. It wasn't a bad game by any means, Mordheim. It was just a bit too Marmite, you know. You either liked it or you didn't like it. And more people didn't like it than liked it. But the thing is that people that did like it really liked it. So, yeah, it was still a successful game in my eyes. How do you measure success? Financial? Does it have to reach a certain amount of sales? Or... Yeah, Necromunda, the computer game, is being developed by the makers of Mordheim, and it's being developed simultaneously alongside the board game. So I'm kind of hoping that by the time it comes out, which is supposedly 2018... yeah, we'll have some more stuff to talk about. As well as that, I'm kind of hoping that they'll be announcing betas soon. Why do I go with a pistol build, my friend? Because pistols are totally badass. I love the spike damage. I just love the spike damage. I think pistols for plasma are so much better than rifles. Honestly. I really do. Mainly for the right click. The right click is just... It has so much damage potential amongst clumps. It's a really nice AoE ability. You do kind of have to spend a bit of time clumping enemies together, but the fact that it's just piercing and on such a low cooldown, I really, really like it. And yeah, I generally like heat weapons quite a bit. It's mainly just as a quest to try different stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Mordheim was, in my eyes, a great game. Not everyone's going to like it. Some people are going to look at it and go, ugh, what's that? There were certain things that held Mordheim back. And that's what I'd love to talk to their developers about. What are they doing about this? Because the first issue is that the game was very, very PvE focused. Now, I know what you're thinking, not everyone wants to do PvP. But the problem is with games like that is AI is just based on decision trees. That's all AI is within the game these days. And AI is just another way of saying that our guy has a decision tree. So when X criteria are met, they do Y. And once you've figured out how that tree works, the criteria for making decisions, you can abuse it. And that's what happened to Mordheim, and that's what caused a lot of problems. And that's what caused a hell of a lot of problems, because you could basically just make the AI do what you wanted to and defeat them easily. And that's where I think doing player versus player, even though some people won't enjoy it because they won't want to fight players, fine, keep the PvE stuff for that. But games like this always have this issue of just basically making the game too easy via a couple of AI exploits. And there's no way around it, because there's always going to be a decision criteria system. And player versus player, in my mind, is just the way forward and out of that. All you need, and what I think really makes Necromunda an easier game to make than Mordheim, is the rule book. And now I've played the game, the board game, quite a bit. You've got like 6 mission types in there. Just literally copy and paste them into a game and you're already doing better in terms of PvE than Mordheim, because the mission system, the tile sets, I mean, heck, you could even copy and paste the maps from the goddamn computer game, from the board game, very, very easily. The map layouts. It's really, the game is just begging to be done this way. Obviously, having the 3D version is going to be preferable. No one's going to want to play, you know, the Underhive board. But it's a very, very easy way to just take the missions they've got and say, right, okay, we've now got these 6 mission types. I think there's like 8 or 9 mission types now from the expansions too. It's very, very doable. I really think it is. I don't think they need to do much to make it into a great game, other than having some sort of PvP system, campaign system. I don't know how they're going to do that. I think you just basically have your warband level, you play against other people of the same level. Maybe you throw in an auto-balancing system and you just play it that way. Maybe it'll be too punishing, maybe not. Although I have a feeling that Necromunda is a little bit more forgiving. When a fighter goes out of action, they're less likely to sort of get their leg blown off. It's a little bit more, oh, they fell into the pit, we'll go get them afterwards. So I think if it's a little bit less punishing than Mordheim, because one of the problems with Mordheim is every time you lost a fighter, and if you're doing PvP, you're going to lose quite a few fighters, you're in a real trouble. Like, you might lose if you lose your leader in the first one of a campaign, which could really easily happen, you're shafted, basically. You're in a lot of trouble. Let's charge this attack, see how much it does. Oh, pow! That did not do a lot of damage. How very disappointing. I'll stick to my one ability, thank you. Cybernetic limbs. I mean, yeah, there is loads in Necromunda that you can use to overcome injuries like that. But I really hope that they go for that sort of a little bit less punishing approach, but perhaps a little bit more competitive. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, in Necromunda, you can root after you've lost one frickin' model. It's kind of odd how that works, but you don't root all in one go. Each model does their own sort of check system. But I like the fighter activation system too. I wonder if they'll bring that into the game and not have it on an initiative basis. That might be interesting. I'm just really curious to see what they do. Really, really curious. I don't think they need to do much from the Mordheim series, so they just need to make a few changes, make the AI a little bit harder to abuse. I mean, it won't be perfect, it never will be, but just make it harder to abuse, and we'll be moving in the right direction. Make the graphics good, make it 3D, import all of the damn models from the goddamn Games Workshop, and you're good to go. I really think like they can't go too far wrong with Necromunda, just because the board game's done so much of the work for them. But we'll see. Just BMO, guys. And I'm back. Just had to do some Chinese whispers regarding tea time. Pasta bake for me, ratatouille for the other half. By ratatouille, I mean whatever we had in the fridge, shoved in a pot. I think I would like what they did with Blood Bowl, my friend, but I never actually played it, to my shame. I really should just ask him for a code and see if I can sort of give him a little bit of promotion. I hear good things about Blood Bowl, I really do. I've looked at the game though, and the aesthetics don't appeal that much to me. I don't know why. I don't know why Mordheim did appeal. Actually, I'll tell you why Mordheim appealed. Because I had the game, and I never really got to play it because none of my friends played it. So I had Mordheim as a kid. I say as a kid, I was like 18 at the time. And I just never got to play it. But I really, 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 really wanted to. So, yeah, this is when Mordheim came out, I was like, oh, I finally get to relive my my childhood here. So that was pretty exciting. And Necromunda was a little bit before my time in the hobby, but I still have this similar sort of vibe. I love the idea of micromanaging squads rather than having an overall army. I would rather have an army consisting of 5 dudes than 500. That's just how I roll. Maybe that's why I swerved over to MOBAs instead of... Ooh. Where are we spending this? I've forgotten. I've lost myself. Maybe that's why I moved from RTSs to MOBAs. I like using one... I like the idea of using a hero character. But oddly enough, Dawn of War 3 just doesn't appeal to me. But that's mainly because I'm just upset about what they've done. Right, what are we going to go with here? What are we going to go with? Physical attacks, obviously useless. Range combat, I think, is probably the one to go for here. More damage against slow, shocked, stunned or frozen is maybe one to do. And I don't want to have minus critical hit. Sadly, there's no more critical hit I can actually pick up here. I've got all of the critical hit I can get. I could go with a heal from it. I could go with a suppression damage, but that doesn't really appeal. Extra damage to piercing attacks is probably something to think about, but I may be tempted to go for some of these, maybe cooldowns. I don't know. We'll have a see. We'll have a see. I'm at that point now where actually building tanky with the rest of my skill points is probably a better use. The dot tree, maybe. We can do our little experiment with that at some point. Because if dots do stack, then something like a needle rifle technically would be really good. Because every single time you hit them with just about anything, you'll apply a dot, and that will boost your damage by 10%. If that actually works or not, I'm not entirely sure. So, while I'm here, any requests for videos at the moment? Anyone got any, well, particular stuff you'd like to see? Remember, let me know. I will try and accommodate for most wishes within reason. Build guides if you want a melee guide, if you want any guides in particular, really. Advice on spotting traps. Yeah. If you see something in front of you that your eyes are attracted to and you want to go for, there's probably a trap between you and that. Heat sniper build, that's a good one. I don't have an assassin leveled at the moment, so that might be a tough one, but I can have a check. I can certainly have a check. But yeah, ooh, let's have a think. Yeah, I've done heat sniper builds before. I mean, generally speaking, I would rock with something very similar to what I've got now. I'm a big fan of the critical hits for sniper. The aim shot tree is kind of okay, so I'd probably take some stuff out of... I'd probably go for something very similar to what I have now, but take some of the points out of the single target tree and put them instead into the aim shot tree. Something like that. Something like that. Oh, there we go. Right, Ignorant IT, that's not an endless mission as far as we know. Because that's been in the game forever. That's been in the game for a long, long time, and they had on the roadmap, quote-unquote, endless missions would be done. Now, it could be similar. All I'm saying is we don't know if it is similar. So it might be that we're just going to have random missions of that type scattered throughout. But it might be that it's a completely different mission type altogether. It might be like the Imperial Guard phenomena we saw, where we have basically a horde mode. The implication was, though, they made a fairly big deal out of this when talking about it. They described them as like a suicide mission, where you're going to see how long you can survive for, but the expectation is that you're going to die. And that made it sound to me like they're thinking it's a little bit more endgame related. So I have a feeling it might be one of the endgame challenges, or like end of sector achievements, where they'll sort of just let you see how good You are. I'm honestly really hoping it's going to be a little bit more than the rather crappy mission that is the cathedral mission, because it's really not very good. Let's be fair. It's a big square room where stuff randomly spawns around the edge. I don't like the cover placement in it. I would like some cover in the middle. I would like some other mechanics and features to make it a little bit more interesting than what it is. I wouldn't speak very highly of that. I'm really hoping if endless missions are a separate feature on the roadmap, then there's something worth talking about. I could be wrong, but all I'm saying is we don't know. We don't know. I think it would be silly of them to have it as a separate thing on the roadmap and to implement something that's already implemented. Yeah, it does sound the same. I do agree with you, my friend. It does sound the same. However, and this is just my thinking, that it would be very bad marketing of them to make a big deal out of something that they're adding that's already within the game, if you know what I mean. It may just be a souped up version of it. Could be, might not be. We'll have to wait and see, but I would be very surprised if it's just more of the same, because otherwise there really shouldn't have been that comment on the roadmap. That would be a little bit misleading, I think. However, wouldn't be the first time we've been slightly misled as to a feature, #openworld. But there you go. There you go. You got to laugh sometimes. Is it worth clearing the story missions? Well, it depends what you want, really. If you want to spend more time doing it, maybe yes, but no, not really. I would just run through it. If you want a level, just run through it. Am I going in the right direction here? Am I doing a thing? No. Oh, there's a chest there. I'm doing this for a reason. Clearly. We've got the two duchies doing all the hard work for me, so I'll get this chest, and hopefully we'll get something good. Something good, something good. Anything? No. Nothing worth getting, really. Yeah, we'll go... No. Harmon's clearing his own way. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to race him. He will definitely win, but let's roll. Oh, there's one of these to kill. Yo, what's up, Deggers, my friend? I mean, I would say killing every mob in a story mission's not worth it. I mean, there's no more reward from killing a mob in story than there is from killing a normal mob in a regular mission, but is it worth reading all the text and listening to all the story? I'm actually trying to blank as much of it as possible so that when I play the game afresh and the campaign is actually finished, so we've got all of the data slabs and all of the other stuff, I'm then going to read everything. That's what I did in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I listened to everything. And it really paid off. I really enjoyed that story. However, that's because everything was voice acted and it was really easy to actually absorb. And, well, I think we need to have a little chat with Neocore about their tutorial, their way of presenting information too. That's a job for this mission before I go see me grandpa for his 90th birthday on the weekend. But the way they display stuff, let me give you an example. In most ARPGs, you spawn down and straight away you have a stick. You know, you've got your most basic attack. That's all you've got. You've got one attack. And there's a mob in front of you. And you basically know already intuitively, all you've got to do is left click on that mob and you will do something to them. That's just what mouse and keyboard has taught us, is left click that mob and something will happen. And that's all we need to happen in that first room. And you don't need a text to tell you to left click it. That's going to be all coming to you naturally. And then you need to have the next mob being, oh, a big mob has appeared. Oh, try using this ability. And then you use your right click ability. I think if you get spoon-fed stuff like that in a way that you're actually integrated with the tutorial, it's so much more effective than you've got a weapon and here's a wall of text. No one's going to read those text walls, and let's face it, they are horrible to look at, to read. I'm not saying it's terribly written. The information is fine, but no one in a tutorial ever wants to get out the game manual, which is essentially what unfortunately Neocore have done in their tutorial, is put a text manual, an old-style game manual, inside their game and force you to read it every now and again if you want to actually understand what's going on. And I really, really dislike it. For me, it just completely kills the early experience. But I'd like to know what other players feel about the tutorial. Has anyone paused to read that stuff and felt that it was okay? I just think most stuff that's taught there could be taught in a better way. Yes, basically it would take time to do. Yes, it would cost money to do. But I do think it's a terrible first impression of features that aren't inherently that complicated. But there you go. Yeah, exactly. Nopal TLDR. And Lilandra's actually a games tester, and I'm sure she has probably seen good and bad... Oh, squeaky cupboard. Good and bad tutorials in her lifetime. What would you give Neocore's tutorial on a scale of 1 to 10, Lilandra? I'll give you my score just as a benchmark. I would say a 3. And that's just being as honest as I can be. I don't think it... Am I the only one that's loaded, or have I just gone my own way? The Dutch are AFK, they're just letting me do that. Yeah, we're agreement in 3 then. Because it has a tutorial. So you got to give it something more than a 0. And it has some information there, so it's a 3. But it's not good, it's not well presented. 3.5. Any others in the chat? What are we going to rate it out of 10 today? Anyone else got any view? We've got 3s as a benchmark. In terms of the tutorial, and what I mean by the tutorial is the way in which the information that you need as a new player is presented to you. How would you rate that? Not necessarily starting missions. And to answer a question, I think pistols are very viable. Mainly dual plasma pistol, because you get a piercing shot that you can just basically spam and hit multiple units with. It's great for AoE. It just has a lot more effect than the single target. It's maybe not the best one in the world, but the actual spike damage you can do with it, I think, is pretty reasonable. There we go. Right, we're going up this way. Yeah, I think it looks like 3s all round. I think everyone agrees that the tutorial is bad. Yeah, Bjorn, there is... Well, when you first load up the campaign, that is the tutorial. When you walk up to the door and a text box smacks you in the face, absolutely sort of... Yeah, slaps you in the face with a genitalia and says, pause what you're doing instantly in the most abrupt way and read this text wall. That's our tutorial. Armin's changed his mind to a 9 now. He heard about being slapped by genitalia and instantly we got a 9 from a 3. There you go. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Neocore here, but it's just a very weak tutorial. 11.2. There we go. Everyone's happy now. Everyone's happy with the genitalia. That's good. Oh yeah, 1 to 1.2. Oh, wow, that's specific as well. But yeah, that's where Neocore's at, and I do think it's not been the subject of much discussion, actually. And I think the problem is most of us had already been playing the game by the time the tutorial had come out. So I don't think many of us have actually used the tutorial. We've just been like, oh, there's some text boxes, let's click those away, and off we go. But even for us players, yes, we've asked for the option to ignore it, but I don't think many people have actually discussed how good or bad it is. So I feel like that's a job for us to do, is talk about the untalked about. The unsung hero. Yeah, a huge flow breaker. Absolutely, absolutely. I would say it breaks the immersion for many reasons. First one is it literally freaking pauses the game. Like, what a worse thing to do. Like, can you imagine being in your living room, playing on this, and your mum walks in? If you don't live with your mum, who cares? Your mum walks in. She just suddenly pauses the game you're playing. You didn't see her walk in, just all of a sudden pauses it. It just, like, it's just shock. It's horror. It's ouch. It's Mum. It's just annoying. It's rudeness. It's so many things that none of which are nice to experience. It hurts your eyes. It shocks your brain. It makes your teeth judder. It's just horrible. And yet that's what we've got at the mo. And so the pausing, I think, really has to go. Has to go. I think while you're walking along, if you have a little bit of information in the corner, that's adequate. That's adequate. But really, do you need text to explain stuff? Why not just have little arrows pointing to things? I think what we'll do is we'll actually do a video where we go through the tutorial, play through the first few minutes, and then maybe bring up a couple of other games like Diablo. I mean, I remember the first moments in Diablo vividly. You start off, you got a stick, you know, the standard, you've got an axe, you've got a dagger, a skeleton crawls out, you walk up, you bop it on the head, and you go, oh, that was easy, because remember, we're human beings with mice and keyboard are basically built into us now. We know we left click on things. And then you see another one walk up, and you bash that as well. And then a guy appears with a giant sort of thing above his head that says, talk to me! And then guess what happens? You left click on him, so you go and talk to him. At no point do you need any information. Whoa, we're really slow. At no point is any information sort of needed to be spoon-fed to us via text box, because it's all just intuitive. You're just doing stuff as we go. And that's what this game needs. It needs to stop messing with our immersions. My immersions are getting broke. So that's a conversation we need to have with Neocore, because I think that alone is going to make people, especially if they buy it on Steam, just be like, you know what, I'm getting a refund right frickin' now. If you can keep a player for 10, 15 hours, if they make it through that point, yeah, there's other things they might not like, but they might even get a chance to enjoy some of the features. They're never even going to see the fortress system if they don't like the tutorial that much. And I honestly believe that there will be players that load the game up, get in the tutorial, think, man, this is garbage, and will get a refund straight away. But there you go. That's my honest view on that. I really believe it will cost them sales. And that's the thing with the tutorial. Like it's a first impression. Let's be honest. A tutorial is two things. It's a way to ease a player into a game, to get them sort of from a state of not knowing what's going on to feeling like they're in control of their character and they know what to do. And it's also a first impression to say, look, this is what the game's capable of. You look at some of the Elder Scrolls games that actually did a decent tutorial, not like Skyrim, and you start off in the cave and you do a little bit of a tutorial and you gradually get given more things, you find items, and it sort of shows you and gives you hints as to what the game is possible. What's possible within this universe, and then you open up into a big old world and you're like, damn, I completed the tutorial, I've just seen this massive old world, let's get exploring, swiggity swooty. And you spend the rest of 700 hours chasing that booty around the world. That's what a tutorial needs to do. And Martyr just doesn't sell it at all, does it? It just makes it look horrible. New classes before launch? No. 3 classes, my friend. We have a tank, a rogue, and a mage. And that is all for now. That is all for now. Other classes may or may not be available later on. I killed one. Why? Did I kill something? I don't know if I killed one. Maybe. Yeah, Skyrim pulled you in, but as the extra credits video sort of shows, the beginning conversation when you're going along in a cart really isn't the best introduction to an Bethesda game, to an open world game, having you in those yeah, there you go. It's just not the best it could have been. No, you will not be able to choose your character's gender, partly for lore reasons and mainly for lore reasons. Now, let's be specific here, mainly for IP reasons. You technically can be a male death cult assassin. You technically could have a female crusader. You technically can have a female psyker. All of those technically are possible, but none of which have really been represented within the IP thus far. Death Cult Assassins have always been represented in terms of models as females. It's a bit of a stereotype, but that's just the way it is. Crusaders are typically portrayed as men, and Psychers, all of the models that I'm aware of, are males. So that's basically what we're going to play. And I think from a cost point of view, honestly, if we ask them to do the animations for 3 more genders, and it's not just a copy and paste. Oh, failed to join match. Can we try that again, Melamba? The time it would take for them to develop that, and I happen to know because they said this to me once, is animating characters is a bitch. That's not their exact words, but it is a huge time sink for them. And I think in the time they... this doesn't look good. In the time they could have done that, then, well, let's just leave the party. Do you mind inviting me again, Harmon? I tell you what, I'll invite you. The time it takes for them to do that, they basically might as well have started making another class, is my personal preference. I don't think having dual genders adds anything to the game, for me personally. Now, I know that there are people, and we've seen plenty in the forums, I mean, one guy explicitly stated he did not want to play a female character because he did not want to look at her breasts while playing the game. That was... well, he didn't use the word breasts. He said titties. And, you know, that he is completely entitled to his view. Okay, we've got some issues joining here. I am just going to reload my game, and then we'll start up again. I'll just be a moment, and we'll crack on. Right, loading on up, loading on out, and firing up again. Right, that should be working. Fingers crossed this time. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, there are women Inquisitors. That's what I'm saying. There are women for, and there are men for all of these other things. There's female Psychers, there are male Death Cult Assassins, and there's female Crusaders. However, they're not prevalent, they're not popular, and they're not, quote-unquote, the norm. And I think in terms of displaying the, quote-unquote, norm, they've opted for one of each. Now, I get it that most games let you play dual gender, but I know it was their decision, because they did do a lot of research into this. They did do the research into this, and I joined in with some of the discussions on it. But it was their decision that it would fit the game better to have the stereotypical character and not spend a huge amount of time doing animations and such for the other characters, and voice acting too, and voice acting's not cheap. And that was their decision. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, that was their decision. So basically, TLDR, no. It's going to be monogender for the foreseeable. But there you go. There you go. That's it. It is what it is. If you like the other gender, there's 2 genders available at least. We have a female and we have a male, and we have a psyker. Yeah. Absolutely, there's the difficulty of animations too. Then you've also got the portrayal of like the female crusader, because there isn't really a female crusader model out there. And that's one of the other things, one of the other potential issues, is the models they've used in this game are basically not only sanctioned by Games Workshop. Games Workshop more or less tells them what to do. These guys don't have a lot of flexibility in terms of creating a dreadnought. Games Workshop literally says to them, this is a dreadnought, and this needs to be a 1-to-1 scale, and it needs to be scaled to the other units in accordance with this. Games Workshop have them on a tight leash in terms of creating stuff. It's their IP, and people accuse Games Workshop of being really liberal, but really the reason a lot of games are making 1-to-1 scale units, obviously you have some degree of customization with colours, but this is how it's working, and what I'm trying to say is there's no model for a lot of these genders. There's no female Crusader models, there's no female Psyker models that I'm aware of, so you've got a lot of difficulty in making something there. I mean, it's doable. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying it's perhaps one of the off-putting things for it. Who knows? You know what, my friend? I'd happily voice something for the game, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I would happily have my voice synthesized into a bad guy, though. I would happily let that happen. Feel free to say it, but unfortunately, the way things work is you have to be a sanctioned voice artist by Games Workshop. Another example of how they have a tight leash. You can't pick your own voice actors. Games Workshop would give you a list of voice actors that you can use. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't. I don't think they could even like stick a developer voice in there just in the background. Like the Diablo 3, the Diablo 2 sheep in that game were all done by the developers. The various bars were done by different developers, just for sort of a bit of fun. Can't do that in this game. Nope. I mean, maybe you could have a guardsman, but you'll notice everyone plays a certain stereotype. That's Games Workshop's decision. The reason everyone is British is Games Workshop says so. It's just the IP, you know, that's the IP. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, we don't really need to go up here. Oh, hey-ho. La-da-dee-da-da-da-dum. Right, there we go. And I only found out that information because I was asking them about voice acting a long time ago, trying to figure out some of the juicy details. I was sort of saying, what's the voice acting going to be like? What style are you going for? And we had a little chat about, well, they were basically being told who the voice actors should probably be. I think they were given a list to choose. I mean, I guess so. You could potentially, but then you have to take into consideration that that's not necessarily a Crusader model, and I guess the thing is though, they did take Vindicare skins and other skins like that from other models and blend them into make a Death Cultist, so that they have blended and bodged the IP a little bit already, so there's no reason they couldn't bodge a female Space Marine and scale it down a little bit. No reason they can't do that at all. It's doable. It's doable. Again, I'm not saying they can't do these things. I mean, they could just stick a female head on the Crusader, but I'm not expecting them to at this point. Their decision was made a long time ago, so I'm just not expecting that to change. Right, starting to get a little bit peckish too. That sausage pasta bake. I don't know as the word is invasive, but controlling, I do think they are. See, people have the impression that they'll just give their IP to anyone, and they are very liberal with the companies they give the IP to, but when they do give the IP to a company, they have a lot of control over what's going on. I think Matt Scabbard's onto something there. I think he is triggered. There you go, there you go. It's gonna happen. First model on the Games Workshop store is a female Inquisitor. There you go. Fact, science, truth. Truth, truth, truth. Eric, we got some new names. You like my accents, my friend? I'm very glad. I'll try and remain true to my natural cadence for you. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Well, I think we've just had a flurry of brand spanking new names. Where have you guys all come from? Am I being raided? We've got Eric S. I don't think I've seen your name before. Thulgin, I don't think I've seen you in the comments for a little while. Matt Scabbard, that looks familiar. I recognise a Matt. Spectre 2013, I'm pretty sure I've seen your name too. I'm pretty sure I've seen you around. Right. Easter eggs and references. You know what, my friend? I'm very, very curious if we will. I don't know. The truth is, I really don't know. I don't know much about the story. I tried sort of pressing Victor for little bits of info, and I don't know. The truth is, we just don't know if there's going to be... I tried asking him before, are there going to be plot twists? Are there going to be twists and turns and stuff like that? By the way, if anyone does want more info, I think the Winter is Coming interview that we did some months ago was probably the best explanation of the season system that we've had so far. They actually had a good little chat about it, and we don't know everything, but they did give us a good bit of intel on it. Recently, they've been very, very quiet. We're still waiting on this goddamn upgraded roadmap, but I'm just hoping... Oh, that's awesome to hear, Matt. Matt's been with us a while. Well, it's nice to see you in a stream, my friend. It's nice to see you in a stream. I don't know if you own the game, but, you know, if you've been around a while, we need to get you in a game. I think we may open the Cabal as well, so we may open the Cabal invites to some of the more chatty chat members, I guess. And if Dewey and Zolos are still in, how is the emoji coming, my friends? Dewey and Zolos at the moment, the two sponsors of this stream, of every stream for that matter. They are currently working on the emoji. I think Hydra Soon trademark is going to be the beginning emoji, which I think is a good place to start. The leading man. Nice to see you, my friend. I dig pistols. I know. I love pistols. I love them so much. I really like bolt pistols, but I don't have particularly great ones. I'd like to crack out the bolter rifle, but again, I don't have a relic. And well, if we go down to here briefly before Harmon sticks us in the next one. Excuse me. Oh, we got an Exodus rifle. Not too bad. If we find our bolt gun down here, okay, we've got a really good frag burst, but the thing I don't like about it, it's anti-suppression, but it doesn't have a knockdown or a stun or a shock or anything like that. And that's a problem for me, because it has that... That would be worth it if you could then do extra damage to knocked down, slowed, stunned or shocked enemies, but you can't. So there's not really much point in investing into this other than doing splash damage. So, yeah, I tell you what, bolt pistol, the unloading ability where you just unload a clip, absolutely love that. Absolutely awesome. 99 fate. We need 150, and then I can get some skill points. 2 skill points from the Lady Tech Priest lady. I think she's a lady thing. She's half robot. Matt Scabbard, I completely get that. And I've advised more people to wait with buying this game than I have told to buy it. When the game launches, I'll flip around and I'll tell more people to buy it than not to buy it. There will be a category of people that are clearly not going to enjoy the game. But there's also a very clear category of people that, well, yeah, they just aren't gonna like the game. And the second category is those that maybe shouldn't buy it yet, because let's face it, it's easy to get bored of this. There you go. We got an American in the chat too. Nice to see you, Eric. Nice to see you. A classic British voice. I mean, I'm from around London, so I'm Surrey, London, so I'm slightly more articulate than... I even went ahead and pronounced a T for you there. Special treat from Hydra. We're slightly more articulate than the true thick accented Cockneys, but we still have a little bit of a twang. That's how I like to think of the Surrey accent, at least. I've got a little bit of a London thing going on, but not too much. But it's a Surrey accent, which is generally seen as a Londonified BBC. That's how I would describe it. Watered down posh accent. Some people think it sounds posh, but if you're from England, this is not posh. I purposely left out a few T's there, but there you go. Deggers, however, is a Scouser. He's from up north, and he pronounces British beautifully. I like the Scouse accent. I think it's cool. I really do. I really like the variety in British accents. It must be an absolute nightmare when people come on holiday here just thinking, what the hell? I drive for 20 minutes and someone sounds completely bloody different. I love it. I love it. It's got to be a nightmare, though. It's got to be rough on anyone visiting. I mean, it's not that far between, like, Wales and Scotland. I can see how maybe someone that's never been here might get the two confused, but they're the polar opposites to us. Are you from Yorkshire, Deggers? I thought you were a Scouse. I thought you were the Scouse from Arkabul. I may have you mistaken from another Deggers. Or maybe are you from Yorkshire and you moved to Scouserland? Scouserland is Liverpool, for anyone that's curious. I'm not going to insult anyone by doing the accent. Yeah, took Yorkshire. Yorkshire tea. Gone to pub. I love Yorkshire accents. It's so friendly and bubbly and jolly. Peter Kay, is he Yorkshire? I'd like to say he's Yorkshire. I might be wrong. And is he Manchester, actually? Oh, I'm not entirely sure. Someone can correct me on that. Yeah. I thought you were a Scouse, my friend. North and South Denmark. Oof. I don't know the Denmark accent particularly well, I have to say. Oh, well, we've cleared this bit. The Landra's getting the chest. Let's crack on. Let's crack on. So, while I've got some fresh names in here, there's got to be some videos that you guys want to see. We've already talked and had a good old moan about the tutorial system that desperately needs a tweak and a bit of love. So that's obviously a video we've got to get done soon, just because we need to. Any other videos? Oh, look at this amazing damage. I love how it goes through enemies. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Great, just great. What other videos do we need to do? Guys, remember this is your channel too. Power to the people. What do you want to see? You got to let me know. Okay, there's a chest up there. I'll let Lilandra get that. I'm off on my own thing. Oh my word, there's patrols of Space Marines and stuff and things. There is loads of them. Fortunately, the difficulty is not too hard. And my pew 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 pistol is pretty damn good at taking them down. I mean, dang. Oh, so much pain and ouchies. Come on, video ideas, people. Video ideas, you can do it. I know you can. There's got to be builds you want to know about. Items you want to see. Things that you want to have a moan about. Okay, how about this? Perhaps... Oh, here we go with the Space Hulk stuff again. I know, I'm sorry, I didn't do the stuff for the Librarian. Again, I'll give an apology there, because I know I did all of the classes but him, and I think I missed one other as well. The thing is, I felt let down by the developers there. And I was trying to ride the hype train, get some content going out, build some hype for the patch, and then radio silence ever since then. And I felt so disappointed by that. I didn't really... I'll be honest, I just didn't want to do content for it after the sort of complete lack of communication. But I should and I will do Deathwing stuff because that would be the honourable thing to do, I think. That should be done. Bolt pistol and sword. Ugh, I'm not a fan. Let's have a ramble about this. This is a good one to ramble about. Now, let me just sit you down, have a sit on my knee for a second. It's story time with Hydra. In the original 2015 footage for this game, you had a sword and pistol being demonstrated. Between then and 2017, it was actually removed from the game. It was removed as a viable option. The reason being is the developers could not make it viable and good. It basically sucked. They couldn't figure out a way to make it worthwhile using. However, in the actual release, they failed to implement a feature that actually blocked it from being equipped. So the result, you could equip it, but the visuals were bugged. And everyone said, hey, this is bugged. This is bugged. Why is this bugged? The truth is, it should never have even existed. It was supposed to have been aborted before its time. However, because they'd given it to players, basically now they felt like they were stuck with it. So they had to keep it. That's the truth. That is the story of the one-handed pistol and sword, and to this day, it's still shite. And that is my honest opinion of it. I'm ready when you are, Malumba. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, an Inferno pistol. Oh, a random vulnerability too. Me thanking you, Lilandra, sorry. Now, to be fair, let's give it its due. It's not completely useless, it's just bad. Now, here's the reason why it's bad. And here we go. The problem is because when you have this, you don't become a jack of all trades. Let me tell you why. A single pistol is not going to be as good as two pistols at range damage, because you have half of your abilities available, so you have less variety, and, well, therefore less options to you. You can do range damage, but your total range damage per second is going to be lower than if you had two. And with the sword, you have some of your melee abilities, but you lose access to some of... Oh, we have one held for review. We'll see what we've got here. And, well. The melee build is in the same situation. The sword gets some of the attacks, but none of the mitigation. So if you have a sword and pistol, you're basically a bad ranged character that has a lack of mitigation in melee compared to a melee build, and less melee abilities as well. Basically, instead of being a jack of all trades, you're just bad at both. That is my honest opinion of the build. I don't think the skill trees complement it very well. However, they are changing a lot of abilities, and the abilities are getting a revamp, so it could well change. And it is usable, do not get me wrong, it is definitely usable. You can complete the game doing it, and you could say, shut the hell up Hydra, I've done the whole game using this combo, never had a problem. It's just not as good as the other things. So from a technical perspective, if you want to play high difficulty, if you want to do, you know, if you want to play competitively with some friends, it's not going to serve you as well as other things. However, it's viable, and all the skills are due to get a little bit of a revamp, so it could be worthwhile in a little while. But right now, it means that you're a bad ranged character and a squishy melee character. It kind of works in a sense, because you can let enemies come to you, and it's a ranged character with a bit of melee AoE, so it kind of works, but you're very squishy and you don't have a lot of ranged AoE. That's one of the problems with the pistol builds. If you have one pistol, you inherently lack AoE range damage, and that's really what holds this combo back. The lack of AoE range damage basically means it takes 10 times longer to kill anything. But the reason that exchange there was so easy is because, look at me go, I'm damaging 3 or 4 mobs at once. And that is where, you know, that's going to save you so much time in doing a map. Like the amount of damage I'm doing per second here is just 5-6 times higher. Okay, maybe 3-4 times higher than it would be using a single-handed pistol, because all of the single-handed abilities are all single target ones. That's the main issue that holds us back. That is the main problemo. Now, that being said, it may change. You know, my information may become out of date soon enough. We'll have to wait and see. But it's not in this game, or it wasn't meant to be in the game for this very reason. It just didn't favour the system, the abilities they're going with. And that's a situation we're in. But we'll have to wait and see. It's not too late for things to change. Hopefully that helped. So while we're here, what else would you guys like to moan about with this game? Maybe that's an easier question to sort of come up with an array of answers. What would you guys moan about if you could have a good old moan about something? And then maybe I can do a little bit of moaning for you. And this isn't, remember, this is all feedback. I'm not, you know me, I'm a white knight. I'm not doing this to slate the game. I'm doing this as constructive talk. Because I like to think, I like to think, oh dear sweet baby Jesus, I hope they haven't finished building that. Oh, wow, that could have hurt. Those turrets really are nasty. Remember, everything I do when I say something bad about the game is to try and help find a solution to the problem. Generally speaking, I try never to say anything bad without at least hinting at what the solution is, although sometimes the solution's not obvious. So, and I do defend the game a lot as well, because I think a lot of the benefits of systems just aren't appreciated or aren't understood, and that's mainly the way they're portrayed, which leads to such a problem. Tooltips suck. Yeah. Let's pow. I'm going to allow that comment. Tooltips suck. Apparently that had to go through the filtration system there. Hamster, but tooltips are bad. We've got all these different damage types. It's not very clear what they are. I mean, how would you know that a bleed is classed as physical? There's no clear system in place to tell us that. You just sort of have to guess. It doesn't say physical. We know there's 3 types of damage: warp, physical, and heat. Or is there? Is there? Because there's also slashing. There's also... Basically, there's types and there's subtypes, but it's never clearly explained. So you've got physical attacks, and within physical attacks, you could have explosive, you could have slashing, you could have projectile. They're all physical. but at no point does it say that or colour code it even. It just needs to make it more obvious. The tooltips are just bad, and a lot of them leave a lot of stuff to be desired. So when you have damage reduction or critical hit strength displayed as a number, the truth is you don't know how much of an impact that has. You have no idea what the calculation is. So, you know, you get a little bit of crit strength in Diablo and you get to hover over it and, oh, it increases XYZ. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Warp Lightning is not a cone attack, but it looks like a cone attack, so I still had to look at it and sort of think, there's a cone attack bonus in the AoE tree. I'm not even sure if the ability is classed as AoE. One of the developers thinks it is. He's not one of the actual makers, but that shows the problem. One of the actual guys that's part of the team that made the game was like, yeah, I think it should be an AoE because of the way it works. And the truth is, it's not. But the fact that it's not obvious is a problem. Yeah. And yeah, we've got problems with tooltips. Oh my word, we've got problems. Let's get another mission or two in and... oh, we've got a precious gift. Insert your Lord of the Rings impressions right there. Precious, precious, precious. Not going to go there. Too late in the day. Too late in the day. Let's sell all of this crap. Couple more missions and I get my skill points. Hot dang. So what else we got here? You like a lot of the systems? It feels janky. Yeah, the jankiness. There you go. We talked about this before as well. Bjorn, I went heavy bolter forever. Forever. The thing is, Eric, with the clunkiness, here is the problem. The clunkiness comes from the fact that there is no fluidity between animations. And there's multiple things that seem to play into this, but in a traditional game, you have a rhythm in terms of attack speed. You get your weapon, which determines your attack speed, and it will go swing, 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 or it'll go swing, 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 swing. And it's very, very, you can hear it, you can see it, and you know that rhythm, and then you know how to press the buttons to achieve a combo of buttons. So if you're on a controller, you might go A, X, X, Y, B, A, X, and it's in a rhythm and it goes smooth and it's nice and buttery. This game does not have that at all. It has the most janky, horrible weapon, animation, transition, whatever that I've seen in an ARPG, because you go 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. And there's these really awkward pauses while you wait for a global cooldown to finish. You can't combo the moves properly because a lot of them aren't off of the global cooldown, or they can't be queued up within the last part of a global cooldown. So I think in many games like D3, and it's kind of like a fighting game, if you imagine a good old beat 'em up. Oh, it looks like we're having a problem loading here. A good old beat 'em up. You press a button and you've got a small window to press the next button to queue it up. So even if you press it a tenth of a second early, it'll still activate because you queued it up. And this doesn't have that. Instead, if you queue it up too early, so if I press 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. No, let's do that again. If I go 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, the 2 doesn't even happen. It doesn't even register, because I've not finished the global cooldown, and I absolutely hate it. It's horrible. I don't hate it. Hatred's a strong word. I don't believe in using the word hatred. It feels so awkward. However, let's be fair to them. Let's be fair. This is what they're currently working on. They have not done any work with making stuff fluid yet, and they really goddamn need to. Yeah, weapons need a bit more impact, although I think one of the problems is, audio-wise, you're playing an aerial view game, and I think a lot of people are expecting first-person levels of bass and sort of treble, and you're getting an aerial view treble, if that makes sense. It shouldn't necessarily sound like you're right next to the character. It should sound like you're in the air from the character. And I think that's one of the problems, is when you're next to the character, it just sounds better. The reverb they've added, I do agree there could be more bass for some of them, but some of the sounds definitely need work. I'm just saying that I think there's some reasoning why it sounds a little bit lighter and tinny than people would like. I think it's in their attempt to make things ARPG-ish. But we shall see, we shall see. Fusion and plasma pistol. You want me to fuse my plasma pistols together to make an ultimate plasma combi pistol? If only that were available, right, as a feature. Take two weapons and fuse them together to make a combi weapon. That would, I would drool over that feature. Oh my word. We shall have to see, maybe one day, custom combi weapons confirmed. That would be cool though, wouldn't it? That would be cool. But yeah, totally with you there, my friend. If you want to moan about the melee animations in this game being awkward, yes they are. And the good news, at least, is Neocore have had several hundred people tell them that, so they are more than aware. And they said on their recent development letter that they are aware of this, and it's something they're working on. So that's some good news. It's true that 40K isn't about fluidity, but there is... it's not so much that it's about fluidity, it's that things don't have any fluidity in this game. Things are the opposite side of fluidity. If fluidity is a scale of 0 to 10, and the average sort of Dynasty Warriors game, let's say, has a fluidity rating of 7, the problem isn't that Martyr is not a 7. The problem is that Martyr is a -5. It is anti-fluid. It is janky, and that's the problem. It's not that it's not fluid, it's that it's inversely fluid. That's how I would describe it. It is anti-immersive, it is harsh on the eyes, it's harsh on the senses, and it's harsh on you as a player as well, because when you click something that doesn't happen, it's kind of like, you know, when you do a magic trick to a Labrador and it just looks really confused and shocked. If you, like, I don't know, do the ball under the cup trick and the ball's not where it should be. They look shocked. You go, what the hell? The hell was that? And that's what happens in this game all the frickin' time when you press a button and nothing happens. It's just frustrating. It makes your brain experience a little tiny bit of discomfort because what you clicked and what happened didn't sync up, you know? And it's really, really annoying. And it's a simple thing to change. Simple in terms of principle anyway, but that needs to change. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a beautiful combo-based fluidic game. But that's how I see it anyway. That's how I see it. But the good news, again, I would say, is that they're aware of it. Up until now, since they made the Crusader, they've not spent any time doing it. They just made a bunch of animations. Oh, a boss! Oh, a giant chaos bird! Oh, it's dead. They killed it without me. Wow. These Dutch are so efficient. They say Germans are efficient, but really it's the Dutch. True story, the two I'm playing with right now are a couple of Patreons. A lovely husband and wife. They're very cute. They're very cute. Shout out to the Dutch. Shout out to the Dutch. I thought Canadians were polite, then I met Dutch. They're super polite. Canadians are just rude by comparison. Alright, let's crack on. Crack on with the mission. Right. Yes, the assassin combos look quite fluid. It's when you go from one ability to the other that is sort of not too fluid. It's better with the assassin, I will grant you that. The order of sort of fluidity is definitely that Crusader needs much more love than the assassin. But it's sometimes it visually looks fluid, and the problem is that it doesn't actually play fluid from your controller's from your hand's point of view. You're mashing a button thinking, why the hell is this not actually activating the ability? So what your brain is experiencing is pain because it's not actually working properly, but on the screen it might look quite fluid because the assassin's abilities actually work quite well. However, I would say this is all stuff that will change, I would expect, because if it doesn't change, you know, they deserve a little bit of a slap on the bottom. Oh, we're rolling up here, we're rolling up here, we're rolling up here. Now, after this mission, I need to get some food in my belly. I need to get some food in my belly. We'll do a little talk through the build, just to give a little bit of a recap for anyone that wants to look through the build, go through any other sort of questions. But we're going to wrap this one up within 2 hours today, and do a lot of mini streams throughout the week. And hopefully next time... Oh, we're done already. There you go. Hopefully we'll have our emoji soon. Hopefully we'll have our emoji. And also, guys, if you do want to see any of the previous streams, I'm putting them all on the Patreon. You don't have to pay for them. You don't have to be a Patreon. It's just I don't want to spam the YouTube channel with every stream I do. I don't want to have like 10 streams for every regular video. Otherwise, it's really hard for people to find the sort of condensed, informative content they might be used to. So if you do want to watch any of the old stuff of me playing different weapons, builds, etc., just check it out on there. It's all available. It's just Patreon/AirsickHydra. It's also in the description. There you go. So we've got a little bit of Fate 135. So let me just show you where I can get this Doohickey down here. How dare you work interrupting stream watching. I'm going to say goodbye to my Dutch compadres. We're going to click on Merciful Agony. I've done the mission that this lady gave me. No. To be honest, ability queuing just needs to be natural to this. It just needs to be natural. I can make a separate playlist for streams. That is actually a very good point, Landra. I could do them in a playlist. It's more that they would be listed as content on my recent videos that I'm not a massive fan of, because some people will choose to filter it by recent videos, but I could have them as unlisted in a playlist still, which could, in theory, work. That's not a bad idea. Ooh, we're revolving here. But then people won't go to the Patreon, Lilanda. Shh. Shh. Trying to spoil my monies. Anyway, that's going to a good use, guys. That is going to a very good use. And want to shout out to the Patreons, because I will be putting it to use on Thursday. And I can't tell you anything until then. Oh my god, Thursday's tomorrow as well. Anyway, I want something from you. 150, 2 skill points for 100 fate, because I did the special mission. I am going to take that. Give me those skill points. So now, I have 3 skill points to spend. It's very good value. Very, very, very good value. Indeedy, indeedy. I wish I'd actually done it earlier on, but where are we? Skill points. 3 skill points now. So we could be spending them. Quick review of the build for anyone watching that wants to know what we're doing with the plasma pistols. Again, because a lot of them are single target DPS. Not necessarily all of them, but quite a few. If we bring it up here, we got a single target here, a single target here, and a single target there. So they all gain. Unfortunately, the main one I spam is actually this, which is just piercing. So actually, bonus to piercing would make a bit more sense than the single target. But what we do make advantage of is crit, applying a burn. We have burns, preventing regeneration. Crits will also apply a vulnerability as well. So obviously, we want to max out our critical. Therefore, we're not going to go for the heal just because it's a point I don't really want to spend right now. We're not critting often enough, although it might be usable. It's better on rapid fire items, I think. Extra 1, 2, 3, 4 critical hits here. Bonus to cooldowns when in cover, which is very, very handy for spamming the right-click ability, and shortens the time of cooldown for overheating. Very, very handy. Now, I will probably go for this. 10% damage to range skills when there's no enemies nearby. I think that's very, 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 very handy. And the extra 3% damage is also pretty reasonable. Now, the single target DPS I'm not too sure on, but killing with a single hit target reduces cooldown by 30%. I could probably take all of these away and stick them elsewhere. Where would I stick them? Actually, hard to do. Oh, you know what, Ignorant? I'm actually awaiting my goodies, the actual physical goods. They should be coming soon. So, and yes, I will be doing an unboxing. I will be doing a hands-on Hydra video, unboxing and looking through the stuff. So for now, I'll go for these. I don't have a salvo ability. Ooh. So we've got 5 points to spend. I need to have a little think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, for 6 points, we could get a stacking 10% damage bonus for every active dot on the target. The question is, do 2 different crits, apply 2 different dots, and do those then apply a 20% damage? Does it or does it not stack? I'm not entirely sure. Either way, there's easy good things to pick up here, like 2% critical hit chance if etc, etc. That's kind of good. Reduce the skill cooldown by 1 second when your character is hit. That is very good as well. Skills will cool down longer than 3 seconds only though, but that is a very good ability. I would really, really recommend it. Very, very good one. Plus movement speed also good. There's loads I could go through. For the piercing, I could go for... now that's shield piercing and armor piercing, not just straightforward piercing. So I'm not entirely sure that would work to our attack. We'll have a think on those 5 skill points and have a look later. Yeah, armor break and armor pierce, but I don't think that that's the same as straight off piercing. So it makes sense, but I don't. And we return to our previous point earlier of the tooltips being crap. Because armor piercing, maybe if they called it armor bypass, that would make more sense, because then we could actually know what the difference is. But I'm not convinced that a straightforward piercing attack, because this is just a... Oh, that's not the one. Where is it? It's the right click. There you go. It's piercing. You've got armor piercing and piercing, 2 different things. There you go. So I don't actually think it's classified as either of those. Not entirely sure. Guys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Remember to stick down in the comments with any videos you might like to see, any ideas you've got. Let me know. Tomorrow we may have some big old news, some exciting stuff to talk through, and well, we'll cover that then. Guys and girls, have yourself a great week. See you then.